Crush is the seventh studio album by American rock band Bon Jovi. Released on June 13, 2000, by Island Records. It was produced by Jon Bon Jovi, Richie Sambora, and Luke Ebbin. The album marks the longest time span between studio albums for the band, with 5 years between the release of These Days and this album. After the initial plan to team up with record producer Bruce Fairbairn fell through because of his death, Bon Jovi and Sambora hired Luke Ebbin to update their sound with a smattering of loops and impressive arrangements. Despite the long break, the album was just as successful as their previous releases and helped introduce the band to a new generation of fans. It became the band's sixth and fifth consecutive #1 album in Australia and the United Kingdom, respectively, and certified double platinum in the United States by the Recording Industry Association of America. The success of the album was largely due to the lead single, It's My Life, which was nominated for a Grammy Award for Best Rock Performance by a Duo or Group with Vocal, while the album itself was nominated for Best Rock Album. Crush was the first Bon Jovi album ever to be nominated for a Grammy Award. Background: after a 5-year hiatus, Jon Bon Jovi and Richie Sambora both released solo albums. In 1999, Jon Bon Jovi was planning to release his third solo album, but the band started to work on their new album in summer of 1999. The working title of the album was Sex Sells. Posters of this album are seen advertised in and around New York in the Real Life music video, which was the band's most recent single leading into Crush. Another working title was One Wild Night. The name was dropped but later used for the live compilation album the following year. After the initial plan to team up hard rock producers Bob Rock and Bruce Fairbairn fell through because of Fairbairn's death, an audition process was set up, but the band was uninterested by the top producers interviewed. Eventually Bon Jovi asked A&R executive John Calladner if he knew up-and-coming producers, and he recommended Luke Ebbin. Ebbin was brought to Bon Jovi's home studio in New Jersey, and took a demo with only vocals and acoustic guitar to add programming, stringing background vocal arrangements. Upon his return, Ebbin was hired. The choice was a fortuitous one as it allowed Bon Jovi to update their sound with a smattering of loops and impressive arrangements. Release and reception: Crush debuted at No. 9 on the Billboard 200 and spent 51 weeks on the chart. According to Nielsen SoundScan, it has sold 2,071,000 copies in the U.S. Crush debuted at No. 1 in the UK and became the band's fifth consecutive UK No. 1 album. The album also topped the European album chart for 7 weeks, spent 15 weeks in the top 10, and received double platinum certification by the IFPI Europe. The album was No. 6 on the 2000 Europe Year-End Albums chart and No. 7 on the 2000 Worldwide Year-End Albums chart. The first single, also featuring a music video, It's My Life, was the No. 3 best-selling single worldwide in 2000 and topped the European Singles Chart for 4 weeks. Say It Isn't So and Thank You for Loving Me were also released as singles for the album, featuring music videos. Crush was mostly well received by critics. It was the first Bon Jovi album ever to be nominated for a Grammy. In a review for AllMusic, Steve Huey expressed the opinion that Crush was a solidly crafted mainstream rock record that's much better than most might expect. Rolling Stone magazine gave the album 3 stars out of 5 and described It's My Life as a Britney track shot through the heart with Richie Sambora's voice box guitar. Entertainment Weekly gave it a B and said that, if the Jersey Rockers haven't matured much, it hardly matters. Crush, for all its sappy ballads and suburban pop fairy tales, is classic Bon Jovi. And that's not an oxymoron. Quote, track listing. At the end of the album, the band can be heard discussing what would happen if James Brown were there, which then follows into 30 seconds of silence before a bonus track, I Could Make a Living Out of Loving You, can be heard. Personnel: Bon Jovi, Jon Bon Jovi, lead vocals, guitar; Richie Sambora, guitar, backing vocals; Tico Torres, drums, percussion; David Bryan, keyboards, backing vocals. Additional personnel: Hugh McDonald, bass guitar, backing vocals; David Campbell, arranger, strings. Charts, certifications.